Well, what I wish to do is to give the idea of an evolutionary explanation for the a priori knowledge. What is a priori knowledge or judgment or statement? It is negatively defined as a statement or knowledge that is not justified by experience. Its justification is given by a priori intuition or reasoning or insight. For example, you can have the intuition that 1 plus 1 are 2, or the reasoning that shows that the sum of the internal angles of a triangle in the traditional geometry is 180 degrees. And if you try to explain the source of the a posteriori or empirical knowledge, it's easy. You can have external or internal sources, the external experience, sensory perceptual experience, or the internal reflexive or introspective knowledge of our sensations, emotions, or even thoughts. This is not a problem, but the problem comes when we try to explain the source of the a priori knowledge. Traditional philosophers have take resource to mystical explanations, like Plato explained our a priori knowledge as an innate knowledge that our souls have got as they were in the world of ideas, and then they were incorporated or embodied, and they could remember by the experience, by means of experience, they could remember these ideas. Also, the same with other philosophers like Descartes. Descartes would say that many ideas are innate. Rationalist philosophers, many ideas are innate, and for example, the idea of God, and God posed these ideas in us. And the same would philosophers like Leibniz would use the same way as attempt to explain the a priori knowledge. Well, there is another way to explain the a priori knowledge, that is, if you use the Darwinian natural evolution. That is, the nature, by means of trial and error, has shown the evolution, selected those beings that are able, that have some abilities or capacities or dispositions that are innate. For example, we have the innate capacity to understand the Euclidean geometry, and this innate capacity allows us to survive, help us to survive, because our surroundings are have a space that is if you don't take account of relativistic physics, is fairly Euclidean. But and this is enough for the survival. Well, when you come to this point, we can remember Dennett with his suggestion that the earlier explanations of many phenomena were top-down. For example, the existence of the human beings. But now, with the Darwinian theory of evolution, we have bottom-up explanations. And this is what I'm suggesting, a bottom-up explanation of the a priori. And how this would be. Philosophers like David had another way. They think that the evolutionary theory destroys the a priori because it shows that it can be false. But we can accept, like some philosophers, Bonjour, for example, a kind of that a priori is fallible, can be false. But anyway, we have access to a priori. But different from Bonjour, I suggest evolutionary. Then, more than this, if you look at the history of philosophy, you can see Plato positively. As far as a rationalist, he anticipates the results that only evolutionary theory can explain, namely our innate knowledge, and so also Leibniz, Descartes, and so on. More than this, a philosopher like Spinoza was a naturalist. That is, if you wish to reinterpret Spinoza or reconstruct Spinoza, you can make it harmonic with the evolutionary theory, and in this way explain the a priori. This would be an interesting kind of research. Well, if you think in this way, then the rationalists have an important view, or important idea, the idea of the a priori knowledge, and this is explained in this way. The a priori insight, in fact, is the insight that we have to our own capacities or abilities or dispositions that emerge in the right surroundings, when the right stimuli are present, and we can rescue this linguistically. When we do this, we make statements that are a priori statements, a priori fallible statements.